Interested in working remotely from home with the ability to set your own schedule? Then contact Notary to Notary. Our online training program teaches individuals everywhere how to create and run successful notary businesses nationwide. Whether you're looking for supplemental or full-time income, we'll teach you the benefits of being a business owner, including time and financial freedom. Visit notarytonotary.com to learn more about our training program.
Well, hey, are you tired of selling your time to the highest bid? What's up, guys? It's Necessary here with Notary to Notary, and I'm super excited to be able to teach you how you figured notary signing agent business. Now, I know you're probably thinking, how can a notary make six figures? I know, right? All you have to do is listen to the steps that I'm teaching you in my all-inclusive. Forbes even called me the top entrepreneur that's changing the way people work today. You'll be happy that you did. Do you hate your job? Trust me, I've been there. Dreading Mondays, can't wait for Fridays. Did you know you didn't have to live like that? I did for years until I found my notary commission. Now you're probably thinking, how in the world is a notary making great money? I teach you that in my Ultimate Notary Training Bundle. I'm going to teach you how you take a simple notary commission and begin generating six figures for yourself and your business. You don't have to stay in the rat race. You can actually live the life that you would love to wake up to every single day. Don't delay. Click the link below, and I'll teach you how to gain time and financial freedom through the notary industry. Join me online at notarytonotary.com. Guys, I'm trying to figure out, first of all, hey, how we doing? I want my light to be a little lighter than what it's lighting, but that's okay. I'm using this new screening system, and I'm just trying to get adjusted to it. So guys, just bear with me for a second. Let me see if I can get my light to light a little bit better. Hold on. Dun, dun, dun. Good morning, and how are you? Let's see. I feel like that's going to be exactly what I needed. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. I think we're good. Okay. Yeah, that was a lot better. Hey, Tamika. I haven't seen you in forever. Where have you been on my life? Good morning, guys. Okay, first of all, I have not been on live in about a month, I think. Well, I've been doing the, so first of all, if you're new to the channel, I'm Vanessa Terry. I teach people how to build successful notary businesses all across the country of the United States. It's so funny because we get a lot of people who call, who email from like Canada, India, all these other countries. I'm like, I don't know your law, but I'm pretty, and I don't know like your systems. I'm like, I teach in the U.S., but anyway. So if you're in the United States, if you are in these United States, I teach you how to build a successful notary business. I got started in this industry in 2014. It's so funny when I go to closings or appointments now, and people always ask me like, how long have you been doing this? And it's like over 10 years. Oh gosh. Like, I didn't think it had been that long, but it actually has been over 10 years. Like, that is crazy just to say it out loud. But anyway, so I've been doing this business for over 10 years. I have been teaching people how to get the same results that I've gotten in those 10 years. Actually, I hit those results within 2 years. And I teach people how to do this. I've been doing this for over 5 years. It's my sixth year actually training. So it's like, wow, it's like time is like doing the flying. And so, which is also important because time is doing the flying. And so if you're not working on your life, designing your life to be the way you want it to be, someone else is designing it for you. Okay. And it's so crazy because everybody always asks me, what inspired you to become a notary? And it was always, I wanted to own my time. I had just had my daughter, who just had a birthday this weekend. She's getting so big. Anyway, I just had my daughter and I wanted to work from home. I was working in a restaurant at the time, salary. And so I had to be there all the time. And I just didn't want to miss out on seeing her grow up. And so I said, okay, I'm going to find some kind of side hustle, some kind of, thing that I can do to start making money. And initially, I got into things like Mary Kay, Avon. How many of you guys done Mary Kay and Avon? I've done MLMs. You name an MLM, I've probably done it. I even did selling knives door to door. So I've done a lot of little hustles. And honestly, when I found Notary, I didn't think that it would be the thing that was going to take off. I just thought it would be, okay, this is good gas money. Cool. And of course, yes, I will help you start your notary business. Absolutely. And notarytonotary.com is where you want to go. Get the ultimate notary training. But I do have to tell you about them Black Friday deals that are going on this week. We do it every year. And so when I first got my notary commission, I already knew, read the handbook. I did a Google business profile page. I knew that from marketing from another business that I had that I needed to do that. And so I set that up, and then I started getting general notary work calls, which is cool. It wasn't until I really started to get loan closing calls like a few months after that I was like, oh, this is okay. If you just go back and look at my story that I did on YouTube years ago, I talk about how my first closing was like $80. And it took me about an hour. And I was like, okay, I just made $80 for an hour of work. Mind you, I had been working in jobs at that time for like $15 an hour, maybe $13 an hour. And then, of course, when I made salary, which I always say this, I have a strong dislike for salary. Unless your salary is like high six figures, I have a strong dislike for salary because that's just a way for them to say, well, they're not them, but it's just a way for them to say, oh, well, now you have to work whenever we need you. I didn't know that's what I was signing up for until I signed. And it was so funny because I'm going to tell this quick story. My grandfather, who is very successful, very wealthy, it's so funny. I remember when this was like 2013 maybe. And I was working at Qdoba, the restaurant, the burrito place. And when I was a shift manager and I wanted to be a general manager. And I got a promotion to assistant manager. I was so excited. And I remember I called him and I was like, Grandpa, guess what? I just made assistant manager. I'm salary, right? And how you guys can imagine what he said. Like on the one side of the phone, I was expecting him to be like so excited, like, oh my God, congratulations, your salary, you have benefits. Oh my God, you made it. Because to me at that time, it was making it. It was going from hopping job to job. So, okay, I'm a salary, I have benefits, like I made it. And so I remember telling him that, thinking that he would be so proud of me. This man said to me, okay, what's next? And I was like, what you mean? And he said, what's next? And I was just like, what do you mean? Like, that's good. He said, so you're going to just be a store manager the rest of your life? And I was just like, wow, right? I was so, anybody have an experience like that? I was so hurt and so taken aback. And I was pissed. I remember getting off the phone and telling my mom, like, can you believe what grandma told me? And it's so funny because I was talking to my grandfather about this exact same story, probably about, 3 months ago. And I always wanted to go back to that moment because that moment I never forgot. And it changed my life. And he was right. What it was is that he knew that I didn't see all that there was to be seen. He could see my potential. And he knew that I was only going for goals that were what I was used to seeing. And yeah, I think about most people that I knew in my family and my friend circle, they were all poor, or working paycheck to paycheck. You know how that goes, the regular story, And so it was like, oh, to get a manager job was really cool. To get benefits was like the woo benefits. It was like the whole thing you aspire to make salaries what you aspire to. But he had way surpassed that. And he was just like, as me being his granddaughter, was just like, no, like you want me to be happy for you being subpar. You want me to be happy for you and congratulate you so you can stay right there. And I'm so grateful that he didn't give me the kudos I was looking for. He was the only one who didn't say congratulations. He was the only one who said, you can do more. You can do better. what's next? Don't stop there, because that's not enough. Like, you not, honey, no. And I say that to say it always stuck with me. It always stuck with me. And then when I had my daughter, it was one of those things where it was like, okay, there has to be more. It shouldn't be running yourself into the ground every day. You shouldn't have to, just get a check just to pay your bills, or just to say, okay, pay this one this time, not this time. It shouldn't be all of your day spent at a job, especially if you don't like that job. That's crazy. If you like wake up in the morning and you're just like, oh, I gotta go to work. That's not where you should be. Like, you have gifts, you have talents, you have something inside of you, but you're squandering it away. You're putting it in a box to go work in a box until you die and then go to another box. Okay, no, I'm just saying, like, you need to like start living your life and like pushing yourself to hit those goals that you set for yourself. And as we get into 2026, I'm going to be doing a whole lot more of refocusing, redirecting, motivating, getting you guys to, I'm a big proponent of goal setting. I love goal setting. It's fun. And not just for the new year, but just in general, but I say that to say, when I got into Notary, I knew that I didn't know it was going to be Notary. I knew that I wanted to find something that would pay me enough money that I could work from home, or at least set my own schedule. And then, of course, I started doing loan signings. The money started coming in. I was a happy camper. Honey, you couldn't tell me anything. I went from working like hourly rates to making $10,000 a month. And so you guys know my story. I quit my job. I waited. People always ask me, when you quit your job? I looked to see how much money I was missing being at work, because I would do it when I got off and I would do it on the weekends. So then I said, okay, well, how much money am I missing at work? Once I was missing consistently for 2 weeks, more money going to work than doing the notary business, I quit. Okay. And I never looked back. And it's so funny. I remember a lot of people telling me not to quit. Don't quit. I had my daughter at that time. You need the benefits. You just had a child. And I didn't listen to them. But I'm also a little hard-headed. So when I get my eyes stuck on something, your girl's gonna do it. Okay. And so I'm so grateful that I didn't let the naysayers talk me out of it. Because think about this. If I never quit my job back in 20, whatever that was, 15, 16, if I never quit my job, I'd probably never be here today. I would never be talking to you guys. I would never be teaching you guys how to become notaries. I would not be helping hundreds of people every day build their notary business, thousands of people. I would never be, the people, I can tell you names of people that I have trained that have gone on to build 6-figure notary businesses that changed their lives. And that would have never happened if I allowed someone to get in my ear and convince me to just play it safe, do the thing, go to work, keep your head down, keep your benefits, go do the thing. You don't want to go start a business. That's scary. And it's so crazy, because starting a business is scary when you first start, because you've never done it before. It's just like riding a bike, remember when you first drove a car? Like, I was terrified when I first when I first started driving. Oh my God, I was not really good at it. Okay, I hit a couple curbs and I was scared, right? Because I never did it before. And I always use this analogy, because now, honey, you can eat and drive, you be talking, you be doing a whole lot. You be like, you just driving. You don't even think about it anymore. How many of y'all ever got in the car and started driving, and then you wonder how, like, you get in the car to go somewhere and then you get there like, oh, I don't remember how I got here. Like, you're so in autopilot that you're not even really like focused. Like, you're driving, but you're just like, you know what I'm saying? I'll have the link. It's just notarytonotary.com here. So if you want to get into the training, go to notarytonotary.com, and that's going to take the Ultimate Notary bundle. I will tell you, we do have a promo. It's not a Black Friday deal. It was a deal we had over this weekend for another course that we have. But if you use promo code SEO, you get 50% off. So just the word SEO, search engine optimization. You get 50% off of that. I'll put it in the chat. Hold on. If I had the whole site up, I would definitely put the whole thing in there. But all you do is go to notarytonotary.com, click training, get the Ultimate Notary training. That's all you need. Follow the steps, get started inside Notary Sign Agent Part 1 and 2. It goes over your setup, general notary work, and then hops into loan signing. And then, of course, work the rest of the courses on your own leisure. Okay, so what was I? Not get distracted. But yeah, so anyway, let's just hop into it. Da, 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 da. All right, hold on. I saw 2 questions earlier. So let me just hit the questions first, then we'll keep going. How soon can you start your business if you link it with? So you can start your business today. If you don't have a commission, you do have to apply with your state to get your commission. I ask people this all the time. Like, it doesn't, in our group challenge, we literally say this every day. This is the quote we say. It does not take that long. Literally. Everything you need to do to get your business up and running, you can do in a day or 2. I will give you this. I can set a business up in a day or 2 because I've done it so many times. When you're new, I understand you have to have that learning curve of doing it. So I would say give yourself like a good 30 days. If you really lock in and focus, I would give yourself a good 30 days to get your business completely set up, understand your law, understand notarial acts, understand how to market, get your marketing set up, website, the whole kit and caboodle. I would give yourself a full 30 days to set your business up correctly if you've never done it before. And go through the training, and it shows you step by step what to do. I say it to say, you guys know that I did a challenge when I went to Florida, and I gave myself 30 days to make $1,000. So no commission or anything. And I went to Florida. We set the timer and it was by day 27. I had my commission, I had my website, I had all my marketing, I had everything, and I had made $1,000 before the end of that 30 days. Now I say, yes, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been training people for 6 years. I eat, breathe, sleep notary. So I know what to do. That's why I say, I'm not saying give yourself 30 days to make $1,000. I'm saying give yourself 30 days to get your business set up properly to go to market, which is basically where you start marketing and getting clients and things like that. So this is how it goes. You have the courses. The courses teach you how to do everything. And this is more of the everybody takes the courses, period. Because it's just, otherwise I have to like tell you every single thing in the course, and it's just tedious. When I could just say, oh, go check this course out, go do this, yada, yada, yada. So the courses give you the roadmap. It breaks it down what you need to do. We also have group coaching. Group coaching is on Sundays at 6, and that's where you do get that one-on-one help with everybody else. So it's a group. We're on a Zoom. We do that. And then we have our mini builds and our full build programs. So our full build program, and this is not on the website, but our full build program is more of that hands-on. Our mini build is more for your marketing setup, and it's really just focused on marketing. So we do have those 2 other programs, but that's a whole thing. I'll have to explain that later. But as far as working with me, your basis to get started is start with the Ultimate Notary Training. That's where you start. And I want you to start with Notary Signing Agent Part 1. I want you to go through step by step by step. And don't skip steps, okay? People do that a lot. Do not skip steps. Because then when I talk to you, I'm going to ask you, did you do this or you do that? And the reason why I ask you is because if you skip something, you're going to mess up. It's something that's missing, okay? So the Ultimate Notary Training is $579, but you're going to use that promo code too, SEO, SEO, and you get it for 50% off. Okay. Apostilles is also inside that. Someone asked about that. It's inside the Ultimate Notary Training. It's a course that's called Apostilles. What's it called? Apostilles Field Inspections. It's the non-notary work course. Okay, so if you're brand new to the space and you've never heard the term non-notary, it's things that notaries typically do, but you do not have to be a notary to do them. However, most notaries do that thing. So that would include the apostille, the inspections, the weddings, I'm missing one, fingerprinting, like that kind of stuff. Notaries typically do, but you do not use your notary commission. Like you don't need a commission to do those things. Does that make sense? Okay, my commission is in review with the state at least 3 weeks. Well, just call or email them. I mean, it depends on what state you're in. Like, you should know your process for your state if you're renewing, because I think, didn't you renew yours? Your face looks really familiar. I feel like you've renewed before. I mean, I feel like you've been here with me for a while. I'm looking at your picture, and I feel like you've been with me for a while. So I would just send them an email or just call them. If you're in some Secretary of State's office, they'll ever answer their phone. Shoot them an email and just make sure that you're still in queue and there's nothing happening. There's no delay or what have you. So just check on it. Hold on, make sure. I get sworn in today. Congratulations, Jennifer. Super excited for you to start your new business. Maria, welcome to the party, darling. Maria's another one of my students who does great. I'm not going to put you on blast. It's so funny. Whenever I start highlighting my students, they'll be like, everybody's calling me and emailing me, and I don't know. And they want, and I was just like, they're like, you blasted me on social. I'm so sorry. So I try not to like blast as many people as I can because then their phones start blowing up too. So, but anyway, anywho, so let's talk about really quick before we continue on my little trip, my little splurge. So we are starting our 10 days of Black Friday deals. I have done this every year for the past, 4 years, where we take all of our programs, our training, our coaching, a bunch of things. We do a bunch of giveaways, that whole kit and caboodle for the next 10 days. So it lines up with Black Friday. Of course, the biggest prize / giveaway will be on Black Friday itself. Yeah, Rosalind, that's what I thought. I've been with you for 3 to 4 years. One of your slow students, it's okay. As long as you're trucking along, baby. Just keep going. Just keep going. I would just email Secretary of State for Texas and just ask about your application. That's what I would do. Okay, so yeah, so our Black Friday deals, they come out every day. You have 24 hours to take advantage of that deal before the next deal comes out. So it's like a game, okay? You have 24 hours. It comes in. We put them out on social media. We put them on our email list. And I usually do a couple like a reel, things like that. I put it on YouTube, so you'll see it. But it's always on the link tree on Instagram, the links, and then they're always going out via email. And then of course they get blasted on social. So that is how you would check to see what the deals are for the day. So today's Black Friday deal is our unlimited event pass. So our limited event pass gives you access to our live classes. So let me explain it first. Unlimited event pass 2026. Okay. So we do live virtual trainings every month, and sometimes several times a month, sometimes once a month, just depends. And so what it would give you is access to those classes. So you would be able to you are automatically enrolled. You don't have to do anything. And then you also get the recording. So for example, everybody that has the 2025 event pass, they get unlimited access to the events. Like we have an event coming up this weekend, I think. Is it this weekend? No. Let me see. It's a loan closing training. So specialty loan closings. Yeah, that's this weekend. And so this weekend we're going over how to execute specialty loan closings, how to get that kind of work, meaning like commercial closings, auto closings, how to process trust signings, how to process power of attorney signings, how to process entity signings, so like limited liability company signings, things like that. So those specialty kind of mail away closings, which is a big one people mess up. And it's so because so I do a lot of mail away closings, and that's where there is a closing, but it's taking place in 2 places. So say, for example, there's a husband and a wife, and the husband lives in Texas, and I live in Virginia. The package will get sent to one of us first. So let's say it goes to the Texas notary first. She would execute it with the husband in Texas, and then overnight it to me. And then when I get it, I would need to execute it with the wife. However, the documents a lot of times have to be changed because I can't go over her notarial section. So I have to add documents into it, things like that, like understanding which documents do need to be edited. And I will tell you, so I'm going to say lately, I'm not going to say always. I think it's just frustrating because lately I've had quite a few mail away closings where the first notary who got it made mistakes, which when I'm looking at it, I know it's going to have to be re-executed. And it's not on my part. So like I'm going to execute mine properly and I'm going to send it in. And then they're going to have to get the other party to re-execute certain things, like certain docs. And that part's a little frustrating. But it's because I think a lot of people don't know how to do a mail away closing, and so it's like anyway. Or like I will do my part right and I'll send it. And then the person who gets it is confused. Like, well, what do I do? I don't know how to change the acknowledgments and the notarial statements. And what am I supposed to add? Things like that. You know what I mean? Which gets kind of confusing if you've never done it before. Okay, so that's what, like, an example of a specialty kind of closing, and that's where they would basically mail you the package, and then you would execute it and send it to a secondary, sometimes even third. Like, I've had mail, the most mail aways have been like 4 people on the same docs, but they're not present, and that happens a lot with, like, make it even complicated, trust mail away signings. Like, it makes it even more complicated, and that really requires every notary that's a part of that transaction to know how to execute it. That way there's no delays or re-executions, and so those are like those specialty deals. Another one that people always ask about, commercial closings. How do you get commercial closings? How do you execute commercial closings? Those type of things we're going to go over on this weekend. But I say that to say everyone who has the 2025 Unlimited Event Pass, they don't have to register for that. They get the link automatically. They'll get able to stream in, and then you're able to watch the replay. So all of our events are always recorded. They go either send out via email. If you have the Unlimited Event Pass, it gets added right to your student dashboard. So you have all those events, period. So that is the Unlimited Event Pass. So the one that we have, and it's normally $179 for the year. And so if you get it today, which is the only day because it's 24 hours, the next one, you get it for $49. And that gives you all of our virtual trainings. Remember, it's not courses. It's the live classes where I teach live. All of our virtual classes plus the recordings for 2026. And to kind of give you like a little bit of numbers to help you out, most of our classes that we do virtually are between $25 and $50 a pop. So if you just attend 2 classes next year, or 3 classes next year, you've already, you should have just got the pass because it just makes more sense to get the pass versus paying for everything individually. Okay. All right. So that is our day 1 deal. Of course, tomorrow we'll put out a new deal. Again, I will send it out via email and I'll blast it on social, all that good stuff. Now, questions before I get back into how I got into the notary business. But yeah, so, and one thing too, I have a video coming out on YouTube, possibly today, worst case tomorrow. There's a couple more edits, but where I'm talking about, I did a little blurb on it on Instagram, talking about the mistakes a lot of notaries make, and when they're trying to build their business. And I say that because I talk to you guys all the time, like literally every day. I'm either on a coaching call, I'm responding to emails, I'm talking to Build for You students. I'm always talking to you guys, and I hear what you guys are doing. And I will tell you this too. I made a lot of mistakes when I first got started. So when I first got started, it wasn't, I'm going to say YouTube was a thing. Now I feel like I'm being old, but I had to wing it. Like, I probably could have done more research than I did, but I didn't. I just kind of wung it. And I made a lot of mistakes, especially like with my charging. Like, I always knew that I could charge more than the per seal because I read my handbook, but I didn't know like how to do the market research and how to make sure I'm being, priced competitively. I didn't even know, like, I knew when I got my first loan closing, I knew, okay, so there are signing companies. That's how you get it. Okay, cool. Let me find a bunch of them. And I did that. I signed with 100 companies in 3 days because I said, hold on, I want like massive results. And then I was working with all these loan signing companies, never knowing that you can go direct to title. I never knew that. It wasn't until I remember very clearly sitting at a closing, reading the closing disclosure, and I looked at the company that hired me, and then I saw what they got paid, and I thought about what I got paid, and I said, hold on, they're hiring you? And I said, so then I did my research, and I said, okay, hold on. So, and then I learned more that you can talk to title companies directly and be their go-to notary for your area, and I didn't know that. So that's an example of things that we don't know. Again, like I've done a class recently, for example, talking about inspections or signing services, and granted, a lot of this stuff you learn through experience. Like, you can't just Google it. But like, I remember like recently, like was it a week ago in our November challenge, I was going line by line over signing services with one of my students, telling them, oh, this is what you got to do with this company. Do this with this company, do this with this, because they're all different. And you're not going to know that brand new right out the gate. You're going to be like, okay, just sign up, but and it's not just me, like notaries who've been doing it a long time, like years and years, they know the little nuances. They know like, oh, this company moved like this. Oh no, do this with this company. This is what you got to do with this company. Because they're all different. They're all different. And so I say it to say a lot of this stuff, and it's so crazy because a lot of things is just still in my head. And it's just like I continue to make videos, make content, do coaching, do training to get that all of things out of my head and give them to you. So that way you know, oh, like yesterday, for example, we were doing SEO in the challenge. And I was teaching them about like citations and like using aggregators to like boost your website. Because the number one, how many of you guys have a website for your notary business right now? Like you have a website that you are using. And then it's so funny. A lot of people confuse websites from landing pages. I feel like I did a whole video on that, on what the difference between that is and how to actually boost your website. Yes, so my training is for all 50 states. So I train everybody. I even have students in Alaska. But they're finding to be, and one of my students is doing really good. She's been doing good for a couple of years, but I haven't seen her in a while. I was just so like, she was in coaching, she done all the courses, and she started I think she hit 6 figures. I haven't seen her in a while, but she's out there in Alaska doing her thing. And I was just like, okay, Alaska, let's go. Okay. But yes, I have literally students in every single state. I'm trying to think if there's one that I don't. I even have students in Puerto Rico, which is interesting because I don't know I've never looked at Secretary of State for Puerto Rico and how that works, but I do have a couple students in Puerto Rico. But all 50 states, even DC, I do train. Because it's all the same. The only thing that's different is your notary handbook, which I break them between that and actually building the business. Outside of that, your client market is the same. There's a couple little nuances depending on the state that you're in. Like, for example, in Maryland, I think it's Maryland and Indiana, you have to also have a title producer's license. I have a title producer's license. In Virginia, you do not have to have one in Virginia. I just got it for other reasons that I was using it for. But so that I'm familiar with that, but it's not required. I think it's just Maryland, Indiana, I believe, that make it required. So there are little nuances that varies by state. But for the most part, it's the blanket all the same when it comes to like marketing, what you can do. And then you also have, for example, like not every state can do, if I'm going to point at it, let me see. Hey, not every state can do e-notary, right? So we have e-notary training where you work online, you do notarizations online. Not every state can do that. So like, you can still, I think it's like 5 states at this point or 6. It's not a whole lot left that can't. California can't, Georgia can't. There's a couple states that can't do e-notary, but for the most part, everything is the same across the board. It's little nuances that you will know from reading your handbook. Okay. All right. Questions. This is your time to shine. Let's just take this for the last 15 minutes and I'll answer any questions that you have. So just do like rapid fire. Just shoot your questions in the chat and we'll talk about it. I did put the link also in the chat for the, okay. I did put the link in the chat for the Black Friday deal for the Unlimited Event Pass. Once you register, I will tell you this too. So once you register, I have to add it to your student dashboard. If you do not have an account, I have to create you an account. So it does take a little bit. I would say look for it on your dashboard tomorrow. Remember that it doesn't start until January 2026 and it runs through. If you have a 2025 pass, you're fine. If this is your first 2026 pass, you would see it on your dashboard, but it doesn't actually start until January 1st, 2026. So you got like 40 days before it actually would start and you would have classes in there. And we always do classes at the beginning of the year. I'm always about jumpstarting boot camp. Let's go. Okay. To make sure everybody's hitting their goals very aggressively in January. Okay. So I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. So now everybody's good. That's the first time I don't see any questions in the chat. Well, I will kind of touch on something really quick before and I know there's a little delay sometimes in the chat from when I talk and then when you type, but I will also say too, when I was saying the biggest thing that people make mistakes on, I will tell you this. A lot of people will say, oh, this didn't work. This didn't work. It's not that it didn't work typically, more times than not, is that you didn't do it right. So like people will say, like, for example, I can't tell you the number of students who come to me and say, well, I went to banks and asked them if they needed notaries. Banks don't need you. That's not where you go. You know what else people say? They will go to banks. I teach business credit, like how to get business funding for your business. And people will say, well, I just went to like my bank and they didn't give me anything. And I was like, well, traditional banks don't fund small businesses like without collateral. Like you have to have some kind of standing for them to give you money because you're a high risk venture. And so they don't make a lot of their money from new small businesses, but there are small business funders that will give you business credit and give you business funding. And so I can say that a lot of times, and I learned this through experience. You know, I did take I've taken classes, YouTube University, read a lot of books to learn this, but a lot of it is through experience. You know, like I talk about writing grants. So I've been writing grants now, business grants for, I don't know, since 2012. What is this? Somebody do that math. What is that? That's like a long time. That's like 13 years, 14 years. So yeah, 13, I think. So yeah, I've been writing grants for a long time. And I always tell people like just jump into it. If of course people are intimidated about writing grants, like I've never done it before. When I first started writing grants, I didn't know what I was doing. I got some books from the library and I just learned about it. I watched some videos and I just started writing grants. And guess what? I got denied for some. And sometimes typically they will tell you why. Hold on, let me close this door. Hold on. Because it's gonna make a lot of noise. Yeah, but a lot of people, they ask about like business grants and they're always intimidated about writing grants. But I always say, like, first of all, there's a lot of grants you don't even really have to write. Just want your business information. But the only way you get good at writing grants is doing it. You only get better from doing it. You know, reading, watching little videos on YouTube, writing some of them, getting rejected, getting approved. That's the only way you know. Because when you start getting approvals, you can say, okay, what did I do right on that one? And sometimes you'll do them right and you still get rejected because there are other, you know, really good ones that also came through. So yeah, you didn't get that. But it's so I'm gonna give you this too, then I'm gonna let you guys go unless you get a question in chat. I put an email out talking about how to get paid to go to school or go to college, and how if you go to college, like just the regular way people go, you're actually losing money. Like this is not designed. Like it's so crazy. You know, I say like credit cards, if you use them the way they're supposed to use, credit card companies would go out of business because you're not using it right. Same thing with business funding. If you use it right, it would set your business up the right way, but we don't do that. Even with college, a lot of people just go to college, take out student loans, whatever the case is, and it's like you're so counterproductive. And how you're supposed to do it? You're supposed to get the scholarships, you're supposed to collect courses, like, and then too, this little piece too. I did find a company. I've been talking about. Well, I'll do this separately. I'll do a whole separate video because I feel like I'm gonna confuse people that are like, wait, what's the college information? Because I know like everybody's just been asking about that, like how to go to college and not have to pay for it, but actually get paid to go to college and do it in less amount of time. But that's separate from Notary. That's a whole different part of what are you even saying? Pile of information. But yeah, so that is also clock on the wall. I will say that I will be posting every day the deals of the day. Just go to Notary. Well, click the links that are going to be, it's not going to be on the website themselves, but yeah, click the links that are in the description, click the links that go in the email, and that's all you need to do to get yourself up and running. I'm going to skedaddle because I do have some work to do today, but I just wanted to hop on here really quick and just encourage you guys that you can build your notary business. It's just a matter of getting your commission, learning the law, learning the industry, marketing aggressively. I feel like a lot of people get discouraged when they're like, oh, well, I only signed up with 2 companies. Like, you need 100 at minimum. Okay. And it's crazy because then you'll see videos of, well, I only signed up with 10 and I'm busy. Okay, great. But it doesn't happen to everybody. So you don't know what companies are going to actually work with you. So just do the 100 and then you add on from there. Like, anyway, I have a question regarding insurance. I have 100K insurance. I have an LLC. I have a personal umbrella insurance. Is it recommended to have separate? So I 100% recommend general liability insurance for your business. It's something that I've always done. It's one of those things where people say, you know, do you have to have it? What I'm trying to think of. Like, it's like, do you need car insurance? No. You know, especially if you have like cash in the bank, you don't need car insurance, but do you want to use your own cash? Like, why would you want to do that? So no, like I recommend having general liability. You have to remember, E&O just covers your skill set and general liability covers the whole thing. You know, it goes into the people who are like, oh, well, do I need, should I do a sole proper LLC? Like, you could sole prop, but why would you do that? I would know. I did that. Trust me, in 2014 when I started, I sole prop because I didn't know. I didn't know any better. I was ignorant to the dangers I was putting myself in. And so now I would never do that. I would never do that. I would always LLC because I never want my personal assets to be up for grabs if I get sued. Right? It's just not worth it. It's literally not worth it. And then on top of that, the tax benefits, how much there's so many benefits to having a business. It's not even funny. Like, it's actually, and it's so funny. There's a guy I follow on social media, and he was saying anyone who goes into 2026 without a business, he was not very nice, is uneducated because you don't know, like, and I get what he was getting at, but if you don't know, then it's like, well, what's the point? There's so many benefits to having a business. And it's just like, a lot of them you don't really see until you need it. Like, I'm going to give you, this is a small little example, but I use it all the time. Remember during COVID when no one could find toilet paper? Y'all remember that? Does anybody remember that? We couldn't find toilet paper? Okay. Did you ever notice that businesses still had toilet paper? Do you think about that? And I'm going to tell y'all, I was still using my business vendors accounts and ordering toilet paper. I didn't have a shortage of toilet paper. Okay. And I was just like, I thought about the people that were going into the store and they're like, it's not toilet paper. And I was like, oh, but I just ordered from my business. Okay. But I think about even something as small as that. Like, there are so many benefits to having a business, from tax benefits to business credits that you get when you have it. Like, the way you could write off a lot of things and balance out so you're not paying taxes. Like, I always say, there's no reason for any small business to be paying taxes. You're probably not doing your taxes properly. And then I will say taxes are very detailed, like, because there's always credits that come out. There's always deals that comes out. I'm not quite deals. There's always credits and programs that come out for small businesses. But I will say, if you don't have a really good CPA that's researching these things, it's hard. Like, there are whole firms and agencies that just focus on researching small business credits that come out, because there's just so many and they're so niche that it does take a lot to get, to master that piece. But I'm just saying. All right. So thank you, Ms. Cyber, my notary business. What app do you account for miles and mobile? So if you're going, remember, you don't have to track your balance. You have to do one of two things. You can take the standard deduction, but it also goes into why you need to talk to your CPA or your accountant, how you want to do it. So if you're going to itemize your mileage, then you can just use an app like MileIQ. Like, that's what most people just do. Like MileIQ. I think Apple has a built-in one now too, but like any app, but MileIQ is the most popular branded one. I don't track my mileage because I don't do the itemized for that. I just do the standard. But if you're going to track it, then, and you can, it just depends on how you want your taxes to be, so it depends on, that's a whole other conversation. Like, that's a whole class. We just go into like which one is best. So they give you both options if you are going to do the itemized versus the standard. But if you're going to do itemized, then you can just use like MileIQ, and then that will track all your mileage. You follows me? And it's so crazy because people ask, like, again, like, I don't think I put that. Did I put that in the course? I did a video on it. But it's always like random information. People always ask me like, oh, and how do you do this? And how do you do this? I tell everybody that gets started to get E&O insurance. I don't tell everybody to get general liability, because I know that most people who are starting, they just need to get some money in, and they're not trying to get every single thing, right out the gate. But definitely put it on your list. Get your LLC, get your E&O. General liability is good, but like something like general liability, I recommend. You don't need, like, what is that? Like, now they sell like terrorism insurance. They sell cyber attack insurance, things like that. Now, those things you don't need that. I mean, if you want to get it, you can. It's like being extra protected. But I do think general liability is a good insurance to keep for your business. Like I said, E&O insurance protects your skill set, like your actual service that you're doing. Also referred to as professional liability insurance. So your profession, your actual skill, you're actually, So that's like, for example, if someone, like, if you notarize a document incorrectly, like you did not do your notarial section properly and you're found negligent and they sue you because they lost the deal on the house because they couldn't close because you didn't do your job correctly and you get sued, that's what that E&O insurance will pay out. It'll pay out damages to that. you wouldn't have to pay it because you had E&O. But let's say you get sued for any other reason. And now let's say, for example, I had a student, she had a logo. She LLC'd her name. She had her logo, and she got sent a cease and desist letter because someone else had her name and they had it trademarked. And so at that point, let's say, for example, she didn't, and then there was damages incurred because maybe whatever the case happens. So there's a lot of reasons for that. And then you get sued. You couldn't use your E&O for that. That was such a skill set. You see what I'm saying? So you use your E&O for your profession, your actual thing. If you have a brick and mortar location in someone like Falls, you can't use E&O for that. You'd have to use general liability for that. So it's just different caveats to when you would use one or the other. But like I said, you don't need general liability out the gate, but if you're ready to get it, then I would get it. The same thing happened with sole property and LLC. Do you have to have an LLC? No, you should. Do you have to? No, you should. But you don't have to. You can sole prop. I know people who have very they're not huge, but I know people who have contracting companies. Like they have painting and lawn landscaping, and they have a large brand, like local, but they make a lot of money and they have an LLC. And I be fussing at them like, you're out of pocket. And you're in the service-based business, even in people's houses, like you out of pocket. You better LLC and stop playing with me. Like you're just out of pocket. But on that same note, you don't get business, and most of them don't get business credit, so they don't get funding. It's not hard to get business grants. It's not impossible to get business grants without an LLC, but it makes it a lot harder because you're not a business. You're a person. Do you recommend getting E&O through the NNA? Yes. So I always say go to the NNA, get the insurance from them. I tell everybody at this point, I feel like as of today, just get $100K. If you cannot get $100K right now, you have to get 25. That's fine. Do not get anything less than 25K insurance. 100K is ideal and up. But you could definitely start off with 25K, but just make it your plan to get it to 100. Because I think it's Fidelity. They don't do if you have less than 100K now. I think that's them. And they write through a bunch of title companies. And so if you're going through a Fidelity, I believe now, anybody else seen that too? I feel like they're making it mandatory if they haven't already. You have to have 100K of insurance in order to close for them. So this depends on the title company, the title insurance company that's being issued and what they want. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that is all. Says the clock on the wall. I will see you guys. I will see you guys luego. Be awesome on purpose. Until next time, happy signing. Make sure you grab your day one deal and get your unlimited event pass for 2026. That does end tomorrow. I guess I'm going to make it end at 12 p.m. every day. That way it gives the right time to get it. Because I think I released this one today at 10 o'clock. So I'll make sure it goes out no later than 12 p.m. every day of deals. And that way you won't miss it enough. I got to get another video out too. But anyway. All right, guys. Be awesome on purpose. Until next time, happy signing. I'll see you mañana. Hey guys, it's Vanessa Terry here with Notary to Notary, and I want to show you guys how I was able to get started as a notary signing agent making $10,000 a month. When I first got started in 2015, I had no idea how lucrative this business was. So much so that I was able to quit my full-time job in 2016. Over the next few years, I've had so many successes and failures that I took all of them and bundled them up into a training program just for you. The training is available at notarytonotary.com, and there are 2 programs that you can register for: the Notary Signing Agent Training and the e-Notary Training. Make sure that your state licenses e-notaries before you register for that training. Once you register, you'll have instant access to the online training platform, as well as access to our live weekly interactive webinars with replay capabilities. Ready to get started? Register today at notarytonotary.com. Until then, happy signing!